What's up and welcome to Me, You, and Switch 2. I am me, Tom Tate, and you are you, so let's talk about Switch 2. This is the latest and greatest Nintendo Switch 2 news brought to you every Tuesday and Friday in snackable 5 to 10 minute episodes. TGIF, it is Friday, it is May 15th, it is 7:57 a.m. on the East Coast, and this is episode 100. So first off, I just want to say thank you. I appreciate anyone who has been listening to the show for a while. I always say if the download numbers didn't go up every week, I probably would have quit by now. So thank you, especially if you listened through, the vacation beach house bathroom episodes where the audio quality was poor and the hotel episodes where the audio quality was also poor. I haven't missed a Tuesday or Friday, and I am doing this because I love Nintendo. I want to also announce that I'm going to launch something new. And this starts today. I'm calling it Forever Free DLC. Now, when I started the podcast, it was not my intention to be a content creator, a YouTuber, never my intention to make any money through this, through affiliate links or ads or subscriptions. That's why this is an ad-free show. There are no ads on the show. This is still my intention. But I do want a way to connect directly with you, the listener, and other Switch 2 fans. And I also want to put out occasional long-form audio content that kind of breaks from the news formats. So think like 20 to 30-minute episodes with topics that vary outside of just, what happened this week in Nintendo. So for those that don't know, I had another Nintendo podcast for a long time. It was called Power Time Podcast. And those episodes are still out there. They're on Apple Podcasts and all the feeds if you want to check it out. They're about an hour long, and I would explore Nintendo Power Magazine issue by issue, starting with issue number 1, and I would dig into the history of the magazine and the history of the development of the featured games, and I would share music from various artists. I had so much fun with that podcast, and I miss longer form audio. But long form audio is not the mission of Me, You, and Switch 2 of the main feed. So the main feed will stay as is. It is going to stay short and sweet, just like it should be. It is in contrast to all those, 1, 2, 3 hour Nintendo podcasts that I see pop up every single week. This is really meant to deliver the news, short, sweet, concise, and it'll stay that way. But for the Forever Free DLC, there will be 2 types of episodes that I want to start with. First will be a deeper look into what I've been playing. So every month I'll just do a deep dive into what games I've been playing, if I've been enjoying them, Nintendo, non-Nintendo, whatever's been on my backlog, whatever's on my list. And the second type of episode will be a series where I dive into my top recommendations based on games that are available right now in the Nintendo Classics library on Nintendo Switch Online. So I'm going to go console by console, starting with NES. So I'll take a look at the NES library today on Nintendo Classics and kind of share my top recommendations and why. So if you're ever looking for something to dive into in your backlog and you have Nintendo Switch Online, that episode will kind of give you a few ideas. Maybe some inspiration to revisit a title that's been on your list for a while, but you haven't checked out yet. So if this is content that you want, if you want to be a part of the Forever Free DLC and get that content, I'm going to host it over on Patreon. So it'll be separate from the main feed. Patreon.com/switch2pod. That's switch with the number 2 pod. And unlike most Patreon pages, when you get there, there will be no paid membership options. So again, this is not a cash grab. Forever Free DLC will be free. But to access it, you will need to join the page. And I definitely hope to see you over there. Okay, thanks for humoring me with 4 minutes of banter. But again, episode 100, I am really grateful. And let's get on with the news. First, let's check in on May releases. Since we last talked on Tuesday, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle released for $70 last Tuesday. Nintendo Life's Ken Talbot gave this Xbox and PlayStation port an 8 out of 10. Good score. Graphically, this game is very impressive. I will link to a technical review that Digital Foundry did if you want to check that out. A lot of applause for how this game turned out. Call of the Elder Gods released last Tuesday. That is on sale for $19.99. Master of Monsters Disciples of Gaia released yesterday as a console archives title. It was originally released on Saturn and PlayStation 1, I think. It's a turn-based strategy game. It is $11.99. I don't think this game is like a cult classic. I don't think it was applauded much, but you can check this out if you're interested. Outbound, this is the cozy survival sim where you drive a Volkswagen-style camper around. This game released yesterday for $24.99. It is on sale for $22.49. Small Land Survive the Wilds is a game that wasn't on our May list. When we looked at all the titles coming out in May, this wasn't on the list when the month started, but it dropped yesterday. It's in the eShop. This is a survival game where you are a small character in a really large environment. I didn't play the game Grounded, but it looks and I heard it feels similar. It is solo or multiplayer in terms of gameplay. It's got great reviews on Steam. It's been out on Steam since I think 2024. So this game has been out for a while. You can find reviews, watch videos, and all that stuff. It's on sale for $27.99. Sectori released yesterday for $14.99, and this is a fast-paced twin-stick shooter. Nintendo Life called it the new king of twin-stick shooters. Ollie Reynolds gave it a 9 out of 10. Jordan Rudick over at Nintendo World Report gave it a 10 out of 10, and he wrote, if you combine the thrill of arcade-style high-score chasing, the vibe of a pulsing dance club, and the visual spectacle of a fireworks warehouse explosion, you get Sectori, as addictive a video game as any I've ever played. Nintendo Life and Nintendo World Report, they also reviewed a game called Star Bites. And we talked about this game a bit. I think they showed it in one of the Indie Directs. This was supposed to come out next week, I think. The reviews were not great. 4 out of 10 and 5 out of 10, respectively. The game was delayed. Maybe due to the bugs that were referenced in the reviews. I'm not sure, but I think it's going to come out on other consoles this month, but it will be delayed for Switch 2 specifically. 5 new Virtual Boy games released on Nintendo Classics this week through Nintendo Switch Online. We got V Tetris, Jack Bros, Space Invaders, Virtual Collection, Virtual Bowling, and Vertical Force. So those games are now available, but you need to have either the cardboard or the plastic accessory for Virtual Boy games. You can't just play them. Okay, let's talk new game announcements. We got a few this week. The game Order of the Sinking Star is coming to Switch 2 at some point in 2026. This is a puzzle game from Jonathan Blow. He is a bit of a character in video game development. He created Braid and The Witness, and this game will have over 1,000 puzzles, and a lot of people are looking forward to this game. It was already announced on other platforms, but we got the Switch 2 announcement this week. Moss, the Forgotten Relic, is coming to Switch 2 this summer. This is an action platformer. It's based on the game Moss and Moss Book 2. This is based on 2 VR games that came out in 2018 and 2022. This was a big PlayStation VR title when it came out, and I remember a lot of PSVR advocates really enjoyed this game. You play as kind of a cute mouse who goes on a bit of an adventure. I've heard nothing but good things about these games, so it's interesting that they're repurposing this game as a, actual game, not a virtual reality game. The next Harvest Moon game, Harvest Moon Echoes of Terradia, will launch on September 24th on Switch 1 and Switch 2. This is being marketed as an open world Harvest Moon, and I'm not too familiar with the Harvest Moon series over the last decade. So I don't know if this is the first open world Harvest Moon game, but it has promise. I mean, that's pretty cool if you're interested in Harvest Moon and you like the open world environment style of gameplay. And then finally, there are a lot of Mina the Hollower previews that have been circulating this week. That'll be out in a few weeks. I'm really excited for this one from Yacht Club Games. I'll share Nintendo Life's review roundup in the show notes, but here's a quote from IGN that got me excited. If you grew up playing NES games, Game Boy games, or similar games from that era, if you remember spending an entire afternoon stuck on a single screen until you figured out the trick to moving forward, Mina the Hollower is aimed squarely at you. And I love that because that is describing me to a T, and I'm excited to dig into this game. As a reminder, this game takes inspiration from Link's Awakening and a lot of the Game Boy Color era games, but they also, started to talk about it taking inspiration from Bloodborne and other games of the this generation, right, of this era. Okay, last bit of news. Nintendo is launching a new Switch 2 bundle in June. It'll be $4.99, and you will get a Switch 2 with your choice of one of 3 digital games. So you get to choose your own adventure here. Mario Kart World, Donkey Kong Bonanza, and Pokemon Pokopia are your 3 choices. So this is a great deal if you're trying to lock in Switch 2 before the price increase in September, where the base console will be $499. Okay, that's it for today. We went overtime because I bantered in the beginning, but I want to thank you so much for sticking with the show. I'm excited to hit this milestone, and I'll be even more excited when we hit the 1 year mark and we can talk about, the year in review for Nintendo Switch. That's another episode that I will probably do and put on the Forever Free DLC. The first year of Nintendo Switch 2. Let's do a retrospective. What were the best games? What were the highs? What were the low points? That'll be a good episode. A kind rating or review helps me continue to grow the show. Sharing with a friend, family member, Discord server, subreddit, or wherever you hang out with other Nintendo fans goes even further. Again, don't forget to hop on over to patreon.com/switch2pod. That's switch with the number 2pod to be the first to get the Forever Free DLC content. I'll be recording the first episode early next week. I want to thank you, as always, for your time and your attention. Enjoy the weekend. Much love. Now go play some games.